Rhythm-based games bring a different feel to them that I can't help but enjoy, at least most of the time. Feeling the need to bounce my head or tap my toe to the music never wavers as I play along. Yet, none of these games that I can recall playing involved fighting it out with enemies to save the world. I also don't recall feeling so addicted to the game I couldn't put it down, outside of the Guitar Hero craze. That is until I began playing Rhythm Fighter for the Nintendo Switch. While the game feels far from perfect, it created an itch that I couldn't help but scratch. I also found myself saying to my wife, "I'll stop playing after this one run," which turned into several more. If you play games for the story, you might want to look away here, because Rhythm Fighter is pretty light on one. The game takes place on planet Terra, inhabited by walking, talking animals living a peaceful life in harmony with vegetables. One day, the big baddie, Commander Chaos, uses an energy beam to turn all of the vegetables evil and begin attacking and wreaking havoc all over the world. To help save the planet, a mysterious man named Mr. Disco appears and gives one of the creatures a mystical power known as Beat Energy. This energy gives the player the ability to fight back. We then set out to rid the planet of the evil vegetables and reclaim a peaceful time for Beat Terra. As you can see, the story doesn't make much sense, and it all unfolds in the first minute of the game. It never really goes back to the story following this comic book-like showing. I personally would have loved to see where the story goes and get dialogue between the fighter and the stage's bosses. Like, who is Mr. Disco and Commander Chaos? Where did they come from exactly? Why are the plants hell-bent on beating up the animals? All in all though, it doesn't have to. Rhythm Fighter plays and excels off its addicting gameplay and progression system that you'll rarely think about the story again, or at least that's how it was for me. The best part of Rhythm Fighter centers around the gameplay. Developer Echo Games forces the player to use the music to control the fighter. To move, roll, and attack, players must stay in beat with the game's music. The game helps players know when to input their actions by using a highlighted rectangle at the feet of the fighter. Two lines spread away from the fighter, and hitting the action button once it reaches to the edge gives the player a perfect rating. Continuously doing so while fighting boosts the player's attack power by putting them in fever mode. While this is simple in concept, this actually can be a little difficult to do when you first start playing. I constantly found myself only getting okays and had to take time when the enemies weren't around to regain my feel for the beat. This also means taking unnecessary damage or outright whiffing attacks as you play. For those new to the genre, roguelike games means players will experience random level paths, bosses, and items each time they play. The game entices you to search every nook and cranny to get more gold or items to strengthen you on your run, but don't be fooled. Each level also challenges the player to find and defeat the boss in a set time. If you do so, a secret path opens up, giving the players a chance for powerful weapons and skills to make future battles easier. I'd personally recommend doing this before scouting the map, or else you might regret it. Now, speedrunning the bosses isn't the only way to uncover the secrets of the level. Some item drops will reveal a riddle that players can solve to unlock an additional secret. For example, this may include finding a path and that requires you to jump 3 times and then attack 3 times. The riddles are typically pretty straightforward, but some do require additional thought. I urge you to never pick up these riddles though. Despite it looking like you will just carry the riddle to read on later, it actually disappears. I cannot count the number of times I kicked myself clicking away to the game's beat and accidentally grabbed the riddle before even reading it. Now, these paths aren't necessary to claim victory, but they sure can help. Echo Games gives you 2 different control styles for your fighter. You can use standard mode, which uses the left controls to determine which way your fighter faces, and the right controls to do the actions. Or you also have advanced mode, which uses the left buttons to move and attack to the left, and right buttons to move and attack to the right. When you make the decision, the game makes you confirm it and says that you can change this in the settings at any time. However, as of this writing, you can't. I began my play in standard mode and soon found I wanted to test out advanced after I kept messing up my moves, yet when you go into settings to change it, the option cannot be found. I spent a great deal of time looking in random menus to make sure I didn't overlook it, and I didn't. I'm not sure if this was caused due to porting the game from PC, but I do hope the developers remedy the problem in an update. While items and level progression start over after each playthrough, players can impact each progressive run. Now, the players will collect beats in their playthroughs that they can take to the main level, and there they can spend it on various things to help them. This can include passive skills, like the ability to revive after death, could be for items to bring in the next playthrough, or just increase the strength of the fighters. You have the option of unlocking 6 different characters, and they can range from a DJ bunny to a secret agent dog. To unlock them, players will need to accomplish achievements and then collect the trophies. And claiming these trophies unlocks other perks too, like access to some of the main screen features and also additional beats to spend. Now, at first, you're going to have to balance spending the beats on upgrading your fighter skills as well as the passive abilities. But the more you play, you'll eventually have enough beats to unlock everything. But that doesn't make the game easy though. As of this review, I've yet to beat the final stage's boss, and this may turn some players away, but for me, this was a challenge that kept bringing me back. Now, being a rhythm-based game, it wouldn't be captivating without the right music to fight to. And let me assure you, this game has it. Each song may feel similar, but I appreciate the little changes to match the stage's setting. For example, the desert stage feels like something you'd find out of an Egyptian movie as you battle against the cactus boss. Compare that to the Chinese-like stage and you hear additional Chinese-like instruments added to the music. This attention to detail sets each setting apart and shows the developers knew it wouldn't do to just copy the track over and over. The music also adjusts depending on what the player is doing. So boss battles, you might find that the music changes or it's a sped up version. So the players must keep their eyes to the battle and ears to the music. I applaud the effort given to the music and felt myself either humming or bouncing my head to the beat long after I stopped playing. I didn't expect to enjoy Rhythm Fighters as much as I did. Despite a growing backlog of AAA titles, I find myself wanting to keep returning to the game knowing this time I could beat the boss. While the game is far from perfect, Rhythm Fighters features an addicting gameplay and progression system that sees you saying, just one more run. With great art style, wacky characters, and addicting music, this is a Nintendo Switch title you don't want to miss. Press Start gives Rhythm Fighters an 8 out of 10. Rhythm Fighters is available for Nintendo Switch and Steam, and you can pick those up right now. Thank you all for tuning into this video here at Press Start. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below on your thoughts of Rhythm Fighters. Also consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell to be notified of every time that we post. Thank you once again for tuning into Press Start, and as always, remember gamers, your gaming news starts right here.